Highas and higher healing vibrations. All right, Cosmic Cat here. Let's get going on affirmations for the inner child. August 27th. Can you believe that? August 27th. It was a very chilly morning. Really liking these chilly mornings, actually. August 27th, perfectionism. Ooh, my goodness gracious. Perfectionism is such a big imposter syndrome to work through. It's something that I definitely am working through myself at this time continually. I mean, if you start working, I do want to say this before we get into the inner child reading. I want to make sure that you all understand that I know that every day we talk about something that is intense, something that has been learned, that we learned before we were even in double digits, and is something for us to break. A pattern that you've had since the time you were 8 years old is very difficult to break, but yet it's not impossible, and you've got this. So one thing that I want to say is continue to work with yourself on these, and know and be patient, be gentle with you, because this is not something overnight that will be fixed. Most of these aren't. Most everything on this isn't. And if it's overwhelming to do one each day, at least addressing it, putting a little, bug in your mind there about it is going to be helpful for you. But maybe perhaps actually just sorry, excuse me. Okay, maybe perhaps putting the bug in your ear, but then finding one to focus on, like the biggest one. What's the biggest one that you'd like to focus on? Yesterday we had comparisons. Today we have perfectionism. And there's always something else intertwined with them, right? A lot of times it's either boundaries, control, standing up for yourself, authentic truth, transparency, things of that nature. So let's get into it. My inner child has the run of the house. In my childhood home, the living room rug was white and the furniture was covered with plastic, which was removed only for company, adult company. My rigid, perfectionistic parents made it clear that I was supposed to stay out of the living room, no matter what. They demanded that I keep my room as neat as a pin. My parents' house was for adults only. There was no place for me. Today, my inner child has the run of the house. He is free to enjoy every room. He has his own space where he can do whatever he likes. He also helps keep the rest of the house in order because he enjoys the peacefulness that order brings. We have comfortable furniture that forgives the mistakes of young and old alike. We live together in comfort and harmony. We both belong here. Okay, we both belong here. Belonging, perfectionism, something I recently learned about perfectionism. A way to think about this is, how do you define perfectionism? Honestly, being perfect is a unique definition to every individual. It's the same as love. Everybody loves differently. Everybody defines love differently. And so everyone also has their own definition of something that is perfect. So to you, what looks perfect for you may not be perfect to someone else. And vice versa. What may be imperfect to you, say you make a creation for your company that you're going to sell. Say you make a bouquet and you have this bouquet up for sale, and someone comes along and criticizes it and is like, that's, I don't think those flowers go together, or you're not supposed to. Something that I know that I hear often about things that I do. For instance, I wear crystals on often. Not as much as I used to, but yeah, I have some necklaces that are crystals, and I wore the same crystal necklace 2 days in a row. And a friend had told me, you're not supposed to do that. Like, they gasp and, oh, you're not supposed to do that. Like, why? Why couldn't I wear, if this is the stone that I feel is helping me right now and protective for me, and something that I need, why wouldn't I? And sure enough, I wasn't in my own at that time. I was a follower, not a leader at that time. I was, codependent on my relationships and others. And I would just believe others more than even believing myself in that period of my life. And so I believed what my friend had said. I don't think that she meant any ill intentions by saying so, but I did kind of get a feeling of shame for doing it. And you know how shame and guilt is in our lives, right? So I decided after that. But then after a while, I started to ask myself, what is this all about? And then I started to seek my own answers and look into it. And really, I actually just came up with my own authentic truth of, like, if I'm working through something and if I feel like now I have a more stable ground. So you gain your stability the more that you start to work with this energy and work with, whether it's from perfectionism to like someone telling you that this isn't perfect, your own perfectionism or others' perfectionism. Basically, you don't have to abide by that, and you be the leader of your own mind and your own body and self. And what's interesting when I think back to this also, this is a time where I was actually getting in tune with myself, and I kind of scan my crystals of the day to see what I wear. When I was wearing them daily, I actually barely wear jewelry anymore. Also, I've had some stolen, some gone, some taken. So I mean, there's that. But sometimes when crystals or rocks get stolen, or jewelry, I feel a couple things happen. It's the way that the universe is flowing. The other person probably needed it more, or what the other person is doing, if it's with ill intentions, then they're going to get their karma anyway in the end, and when it comes to that. But perfectionism, having your own perfectionism and trying to keep things perfect in your world, in your life. We are in Virgo season. I could totally see Virgos being this way because they are very detail oriented. They're all about their health. They like to be organized and structured, which is they're all good, healthy things. But there is a limit. You want to stop at a certain point because you want to allow some flexibility. Sometimes when you have too much structure and too much of these rules and regulations in place, then you can become that robot, that more robotic form of yourself, as opposed to just the mundane of day to day. This is it, and mindless tasks, as opposed to being mindful. That's what I'm trying to get at here. Let's pull some cards on this perfectionism. In this instance, it was more like all about, you couldn't go in the living room. So were you blocked out of certain rooms because of the fact that you were a child? This is like rejection of being a child, being a kid. Like, it wasn't okay for you to be a kid. That's that even goes beyond perfectionism. In this, there's so much here that could have happened or taken place with your feelings. Not only feeling outcasted from your own parents because you were a child. I mean, it's very quite a conundrum. They brought you into the world in a way, but at the same time, they're rejecting of you. So the rejection you get for being a kid, no place for kids there, not allowed to go there. Um, the fact that furniture was covered with plastic can also show that, like, they struggled with having a child. The child was, instead of being looked at as the child, being embraced, and bringing mud into the home was a gift because mud comes from the earth. It was more of like, no, mud, society has to have cleanliness. And it's not that cleanliness isn't okay. It's just that uh, knowing that you can clean it. You can clean up mud, you know, and sometimes couches do, it's just interesting being rigid, staying out of places, not able to have freedom to roam, feeling as though you're captive, um, not able to make messes, not able to spill. So, perfectionism, how are you with perfectionism? And how were you growing up? What was your world like um, for perfectionism? Um, I guess I can say that mine wasn't so much as having that sort of um, structure with my parents, as that there was definitely the feeling of not making messes, um, and the status quo, fitting in. There was that for sure. Yeah, but perfectionism is something, it's also can lead you, if you get stuck in perfectionism, um, can lead you astray into singling yourself out in a way too. Because sometimes, more and more, I start to feel that perfectionism is the lack of being able to face fear of failure. If you won't share anything because you want it to be perfect, if you have this is you having a tough time embracing your imperfections. So how can we embrace our imperfections and release perfectionism from our lives? Can we release perfectionism from our lives? Whoa. Don't fall down. All right. You go here. I really like this Queen of Wands energy, because that's already you standing in your power, your authentic truth, and not accepting, being unapologetically you, and embracing all the things in society that are unaccepted, that are considered failures already, that are already considered imperfections in this Queen of Wands energy. So a heartbreak, a loss. Maybe you recently lost your parent, one of your parents. This is definitely heartache, though. A grief, a loss, a breakup. You've recently went through a breakup. You've lost your parent. Someone close to you passed that maybe helped you with this perfectionism struggle. Maybe it was the one that actually created it for you, though. Either way, they're important. They play important roles in your life, and you know this. It's affecting you dearly. But they are still with you, and you know this too. You can feel their energy. It's creating this peace within you that you've never felt before. Many of us have went through losses to actually send us on our spiritual awakening journey, and this is feeling like that. This really is feeling as though, for regarding perfectionism and knowing, um, a lot of this perfectionism is really accepting you as you are and being comfortable in your skin, being okay with making a mistake or failing, doing things that you want to do without allowing others to tell you, no, you can't do that because of this. I mean, use this to use this with your common sense. Obviously, if you are learning, if you don't know how to swim, you don't just want to jump into a pool. Or, if a lifeguard is saying you just can't do that, then clearly listen to the lifeguard. Someone, if you are a child, something of that nature. Even if you're an adult and you can't swim, I mean, don't just I say don't just jump in a pool, but I literally, that's how I learned how to swim. I was shoved into the pool. I was shoved into the county pool and had to fight for my life. And that was how I learned how to swim. So, yeah, but not everybody learns this way. Some people actually have a much more organized, their parents sign them up for some swimming lessons and such. But yeah, it's kind of the way my life has been too. It's like, okay, shove, there you go. Figure it out. Figure it out. Learning the hard way. Learning things the hard way. Now, I signed up for this, so I must have signed up for this because my past life was probably really cushy. Probably didn't have to do much of anything. Many people done a lot of things for me and things of that nature at that time, I suppose. So your own perfectionism of what I'm picking up here, you definitely quite possibly could be starting your own spiritual awakening, and this led you to the inner child reading, which led you to perfectionism being part of an understanding. So ask yourself, write in your journal today about perfectionism, how you define it, and where did you first learn about it? What areas of your life now in this current moment do you struggle with perfectionism? What areas of your life or your work, your home, career, social areas are you blocking due to perfectionism? Is there something in your work environment that is preventing you from releasing because you feel it's not perfect yet? But friends have came over, friends like the idea, they're already ready, they're ready to be there for it, supportive, they want this, and yet you're still blocking it due to perfectionism. Get to the root, the deep, deep root of it, and allow yourself to step into this queen energy. And if you don't feel like this queen energy is you, if you don't feel like the unapologetic you, the one that will stand beside the black cat and know that the black cat is good luck, not bad luck. Know that the black cat is magic, not dark, not bad, not ill-willed, but actually very powerful, ancient, psychic, helpful, a healer, knowing that your beliefs, your passions, your dreams, whatever they are yours, standing by them, standing in your passion, in your fire, in who you are. Are you doing that? Or do you have someone around you that you look up to that is that energy? Because that very well could be it. Very healthy. A positive feminine leader. One that draws energy toward them because they are approachable. and they display this courage, this contained courage. It's almost how it's like an inner peace, serenity of sorts, but it's also something that is very well respected. It's like being in the presence of this person is an honor, and you know this. So if this is not your energy, this is someone that is a mentor for you. However, some of you, this is definitely you. And as a queen, you're reflecting back to this heartache, this loss, this grief. You're actually reflecting back to this to gain the understanding of how it all came about. So this reading has helped you understand that your perfectionism you struggle with is from before, is from your past life. In essence, is from when you were a child. And now that you know where it resorts from, you know the root and where it came from, the heartache, the loss of whatever this is that is for you. You always knew this, but you had a tough time bringing it to light because you didn't want others to feel let down. But you understand now, and you know now, that this is not about good or bad, right or wrong, that this is simply about, it is. You've embraced the I am mentality. You understand that, you know, your guardians did the best that they could with what they were taught as well, and how they were raised and told, and they tried to do the best job that they could. And yet you're going back to this to make sure that now, you know, it's okay. Some of you aren't, you know, you're not concerned about how your guardian feels about it. Maybe you didn't even have a guardian, and that's the part that you're healing for your own perfectionism, because you wanted to do and excel so much. I mean, if you're an orphan and you grew up, then you could be reflecting back to that to figure out what it is that you learned there and how was your perfectionism there. I could very well see an orphan living in this, you know, think of Annie, living in this kind of mansion. Now, her story was way different. She was able to make any mess she wanted, but yet think of someone that is adopted into a wealthy home that doesn't even know how to, not that they don't even know how anything about kids, but it's also like parenting doesn't come with a manual. So, and this isn't to condone behavior that causes pain upon you. This is to recognize, to know where it comes, and to also honor it for showing up, because without that pain, you wouldn't be where you are today, and you wouldn't have the knowledge of this. This is something that now that you've learned this, you don't have to, your red flags are already there for future circumstances. So one of the positive notes to definitely take away from this is that you learned this. This is a learned behavior, and you can transform a learned behavior because you can learn something new. Replace that. And this is why the Queen of Wands is here. So if this is a mentor for you, you're being asked to go to them again, to go to them and seek their wisdom, to go to them and sit with them, share with them what you learned through this reading about you, yourself, your upbringing, your inner child, your own perfectionism struggle. Some of you just really realized this today, that you even have perfectionism, and that's the thing. You realize today that, oh, wow, I learned this at a very early age, and here I am now. So what's going to happen by stepping into your own Queen of Wands energy, by stepping into your own power and working toward releasing the program that's been playing out, the old pattern in your mind that's been playing out of being perfect, and releasing the idea of being perfect, letting it go. And you're going to come to this Six of Pentacles energy of not only having discernment now, you have discernment. This is so cute. This little Six of Pentacles looks like my little kitten Love. But Six of Pentacles, this is you now up here giving. You're giving, you're sharing your wealth. You're sharing what has come to you. And maybe this is something that your parents didn't do, as wealthy as they are, wealthy as they were, and protective of as they were with their furniture, their things, their belongings, their material items. You're more open. I mean, you're sitting in a trash can with some fish and you're sharing it with the other cats. You have discernment as well. You're actively involved with this cat here. You're not just sharing, but you're also playing, and you're not eating with them, but you're sharing this energy with them. Whereas this cat is getting they're getting the fish. This is not speaking about why this is, so we're not going to get into that, but you are going to gain some discernment by stepping into this energy, stepping into your Queen of Wands. This could be a Sagittarius friend for you. This is a Sagittarius card. If this isn't your own energy, you know, if it is your own energy, by you stepping into your Queen of Wands energy, you're going to gain discernment. Either way, discernment is coming to you, and this is going to help you in your future. Very beautiful reading today. I mean, it's challenging, but life is challenging, and challenges come. And the whole point of us doing this video, of us connecting with our inner child, is to help release and let go of outdated patterns, habits, addictions, ways, things that aren't serving our souls anymore, things that aren't really helping us raise our frequency. And because we've learned frequency is so important for us, we've learned how important our thoughts are, how they manifest and ripple into the world, no matter whatever thought it is, whatever thought you're having, it does ripple out. So it's important to have positive thoughts, and especially during challenging times, especially when you're in this heartbreak, the loss, the grief. It is a cycle. It will not always be that way. Yet at the same time, it is meant that it is there to be honored. It is there to be fearless, embrace it, and accept yourself for who you are, where you're at right now. Perfectionism and all. If you're in that perfectionism state still, just accept you for you. And be patient and gentle with yourself through the process. It may not have taken you long at 8 years old to learn these traits or pick them up. But depending on how old you are now, know that that's how long you've been doing playing that same record. So with that in mind, allow yourself some time to break free from that shadow aspect, that part of you that you are not really feeling anymore, that isn't working for you anymore. As you allow it to let go, there will be something else that's going to be able to come in and fill that space. But first, you must let this go. Allow this to fall to the wayside so that you don't struggle with placing yourself in boxes, compartmentalizing things, labeling yourself as this or that, labeling others. Once you place a label on something, sometimes that's just it. That's all you see. Whereas if you don't label, you don't compartmentalize or box people into things or yourself, then you're more open. You're more unlimited. That's the message I have for you today. I do hope that resonates. Have a cosmic day and tonight, Mio.